Right now, I am joined by the oh so beautiful Destiny Wimpye.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me today.
Of course.
I cannot wait to dig into you because I remember seeing you when you were on the day with Trey. So,
Mhm.
I'm a little bit familiar with you and like your story, but I definitely want to know more.
Mhm.
So, I found it interesting that you started dancing at the age of 3. So, were you just like tap dancing in your mom's belly? Like, like,
Yeah.
how did this happen?
I mean, maybe my mom said I kicked her a lot. But I started when I started when I was 3. It wasn't really like, oh, I got put into like classes or anything. I was at daycare, and at my kind of like daycare school, they would have different people come in and like teach us just to pass the time. And a dance studio came in and they just started teaching us like ballet classes, little tap classes, jazz,
That
whatever
is
it
so
was. Yeah,
cool.
it was really fun and I really enjoyed it a lot. And when they left, when their time was up, I was telling my mom, "Oh, that was so fun. I really want to like keep doing it." My
At the
mom was
age of
like,
3.
"Yeah." Well, my mom was like, she was like, my mom didn't believe it. She was just like, "Whatever." Like they were just here for a second. Destiny,
Yeah.
you're 3. Come on. And the teacher came up to my mom and was like, she really has some talent. And my mom was like, "She's 3," and she was like, "But she has potential. Please just bring her to the studio. Let's just see if she'll like it." My mom was like, okay, thinking I would
Let's see
like,
how this goes.
yeah, thinking I would just be like, okay, move on to the next thing. But I stuck with it and I stayed at that studio.
I love it. Now, you ended up, going to a lot of schools and then also learning a lot of different dances.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to falling in love with being a ballerina? Because there was a point where you were doing like jazz and hip hop and like all other types of dance, but eventually you were like, you know what? I actually want to do more of this ballerina dance.
Yeah, exactly. I trained at Demian Dance Academy. After my competition days. So in competition, I was doing a lot of tap and ballet, of course, but jazz was more attractive to like the competition audiences. So that's what we did more of, jazz and hip hop. When I went to Debian Dance Academy, that's when I got more of like the technical styles, which was like Graham, more modern styles, Dunham, African, all that. And it was all really fun. And I felt really confident in all those styles, but the style I didn't feel confident in was ballet. I felt I couldn't understand it. I thought it was really slow, and I in class I was like, "Can we do something? Like, let's keep moving."
Speed this up real quick.
Yeah,
Just a little.
and I didn't understand. I was like, I can't get it. Like, why can't I understand it? And I felt like in the other styles, hip hop and jazz, like I felt that was my thing, like
Came a little more
performing.
naturally.
Yeah, and I understood those styles, and so with ballet, I guess I was just like, let me get to the bottom of this. Like, let me figure this out, and I can move on. And I think that's what I love about ballet is I could never figure it out. I still can't figure it out to this day.
Wait a minute.
Like,
Now,
well,
now, now, now. I don't know about that. You dance pretty gracefully to me. If that's what not figuring it out looks like, then I don't know what I would be doing if I tried it.
no, thank you. I appreciate that. I guess I mean like I there's so much to learn still, and like with other styles too. I'm sure other people feel this way if they're training in hip hop. There's so many different types of different factors that go into what you do. But I think for me with ballet, I love that there's something you're not going to be perfect. And I don't like to claim this, but I am a bit of a perfectionist.
There's nothing wrong with wanting perfection. That just means
Yeah.
you want greatness.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess ballet out of all the styles that I've learned has been the one style that really continuously like challenged me. And I think that's what attracted me to it was that I could always be challenged and there was something always new for me to learn and try to master.
Now, how did you go from LA to coming to Seattle?
Yeah, so from Debian Dance Academy, I left and I went to the Colburn School. I was in the Colburn Dance Academy studying under New York City ballet dancers, and so that's where I was really introduced into the balancing style that Gina was talking about that we do here at PMB. Um, Colburn doesn't have a company attached to it, so it had amazing training. But my teacher would always tell me, just make sure, you got to keep auditioning for other schools. You got to keep trying because if you want to get into a company, like that's the next step. So from there, I just kept auditioning for different summer courses. I went to SAB a few times, School of American Ballet in New York. That's really Balanchine, and so I realized I really love that style. So I wanted to dance in a company that embraces that style. I auditioned for PMB in 2018, and I came here, and I had the best time of my life. Not just like in the school, but like socially, I felt really good about myself and I felt really confident, and I knew I wanted to come back at some point. I really love New York, so I was pushing for that. But I realized that I needed to go to a place that like embraced who I was, what I looked like, and how I felt. And I talk to my mom about this all the time, but I was just so happy here, and I wanted to figure out why. I was like, let me try this again. So I auditioned for PMB in again for a summer course in 2020, and COVID. So yeah.
COVID definitely put a big stomper on a lot of things, or at
Oh
least a
yeah.
pause.
For sure. And I couldn't come here in person, but I ended up going to the virtual summer course, and I did that over Zoom, which was really hard because I was doing it like in my apartment. But I still had fun and I still loved it. So came here and I got into the professional division at PMB.
Wow, it's such. I love hearing the journeys of like how you start and like get to where you are, and it's almost as if doing those other types of dance. You were like, this is great, but for some reason, I can't do that.
Right.
Do you know like what? Now that you're able to do it, like obviously, like it looks effortlessly to me. Do you know what you feel like? What you probably struggled with most back then, in terms of like figuring out the techniques?
I just think I wasn't in the right place. I just think I wasn't in the right situation where ballet was presented to me as like fun. I wasn't really introduced into I wasn't introduced to the like the story ballets or like the different roles you can be within ballet. So I just saw it as kind of one note, and I didn't really understand the layers that it has, like both physically and mentally. So I think once that happened for me, I think it really took seeing the Balanchine style and training in Balanchine dancers, seeing how dynamic they move and just seeing their artistry and how each dancer is completely different, but we're all doing the same thing in the core. I think I was like, okay, I see. And I can see myself doing that, and I can see myself like being my own person while still being really technically awesome.
So questions about the Balanchine. I seen I think it was an interview. I don't know if it was a blog that you did, because it seems like you wrote the whole thing. But you basically were saying that one of the reasons why you really liked Balanchine is because the dancers looked more like you, like they were a little more muscular, like they weren't as thin. What did it feel like before then when you would like do dancing? Because obviously your body type is different, and we, when we grow, like it's like things start popping out.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. When I was doing that like more Vaganova, like Gina was saying, I was doing that style when I was younger. So everything was fine and dandy before puberty. But yeah, I was doing that, so I didn't really notice, and I wasn't paying attention to body styles. Of course, it was the race thing of not seeing a lot of representation, but I figured that was everywhere, all across the board. But then as I got older, people started bringing it to my attention. Teachers, different schools that I went to started bringing it to my attention. It was hard.
Like pointing out like your body type,
Yeah,
or
I have breasts. I'm more curvy, and so yeah, people would point that out to me, and it was hard. But I think I just had to find the place that wouldn't look at that and would look at my talent. So
it's so crazy. And just like how I was telling Gino, it's wild to, I don't want to say think, but it's wild to know that even in this day and age, they're like, no, you're not thin enough for this. Your boobs are too big for that. Or maybe you have to like tape it down a little bit. But now you're able to fully be yourself. Like you don't have to worry about anything. Outside of dance, what kind of workouts do you do to make sure that your physique is always on point?
I do a lot of like PT and physical therapy things. And I just like to rest, honestly. I think that's like really the best medicine, is just taking care of myself. Sometimes it's not going out and just sitting in my house and relaxing and sleeping. Yeah, and just resting. So that's really what I do.
Now, I did see that you recently was in, I want to say, a short film called The Point.
Yeah.
What was that? It looked really dope. I only saw like a small clip of it, but I really, really liked where it was going.
Yeah, I did a short film with Morgan Dukes. She reached out to me and we filmed actually at the Armory.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it was really fun. It was just talking about it was just a little short film. It was talking about ballet and just discovering yourself and realizing it, if it's like, are you doing it for other people? Are you doing it for someone to validate you, or are you doing it for yourself because you love it? And I really kind of resonated with that message, so I really wanted to be a part of it, and it was awesome. It was amazing. I wish I had a way of like streaming it or showing it, but it was there was a viewing a while back, but yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, well, shoot, you guys, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna talk more about inclusivity in ballet and having a support system.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
X-ray season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that, hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace.
COVID-19 hurt my income, my health, and my family. We were about to lose our home when we heard we might be eligible for homeowner assistance funds from the government. We called 1-877-894-HOME, and a housing counselor stepped in, talked to our lender, and saved our home. Federal funding details at washingtonhaf.org. That's washingtonhaf.org.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. We are still live at McCaw Hall, and I still have my girl Destiny Wimpye with me. So, okay, question. When it comes to support and moving around, like you've moved around a lot, you know, and I've always heard about people where they're like, you know, I'm an Army brat, I have to go here, I have to go there, but you know, I always have my family. What has your support system been like for you throughout your career in ballet?
So when I was 9, that was the first time I moved from Georgia. I'm from Georgia originally. I moved with my mom. So we were there together until I was 13. And then I stayed in dorm. So I was by myself from 13 to 16. And then then I came here. So I guess I was by myself again. So 16, and then I came here, and I was I moved here by myself for 2 years, and then my mom actually just moved out here this past summer.
So she's here now.
Yeah, so she's here.
Nice.
Yes. So I mean, my family has been a huge support system for me. Definitely my mom and my grandma, my uncle, and different things like that. But my mom really, I talked about this last time I was on Converge. She's really the rock of it all. Couldn't have done it without her, and I'm glad she's here now.
It's funny that you mentioned it. You talked about it last time on Converge. We have that clip for you guys in case you did not see it. If we can get that clip, it is titled Destiny.
No, I saw you get emotional there. Tell us just quickly before I let you go about how your family is, you know, just excited that you're playing this iconic role of Belle. And I'm sure you're just doing the role justice. Tell us about how that is for you personally, how your family is receiving that beautiful news.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna try to get through this because I'm a crier. My mom is here, and my mom is like my rock, my everything.
she is always so proud of me, and I'm so thankful. We like moved to LA together, like from Georgia, and it was just us. So it's always just been us. And you know, I feel like for her, like just seeing me be able to just tackle, you know, doing what I love, because we gave up so much for me in order to do that. I'm sorry. Like
Don't be.
like we gave up so much in order for me to get here, and she gave up so much. And I just think that's what makes her such an amazing woman, and the woman I want to be when I get older. And I know she's just so proud of me, and just so excited to see me on stage. And she, like, even when we did Nutcracker and other performances, she was so happy to be here. And I know she sits in the audience, she tells me she cries every show. She's just, I mean, it's just a lot, I think, for her. Just full circle. I'm her only child, so just having that experience, and like us going to LA and Seattle and all over the place, like I feel like it's been really great for her. And I know she's watching this probably, so I know she's just really proud of me.
You know what? You can look right there in that camera and tell your mama how much you love her.
Yes, thank you, Mom, for everything. I know you're watching. She's probably crying too, because we're both like on the same page. But I just love you so much, and I tell you like every second I can, but I need to say it even more, because like without you, I wouldn't be the person I am. I wouldn't be the dancer I am. I wouldn't be the artist I am. And I wouldn't be able to have this like platform and be in the space where I can share my talent to other dancers who might look up to me. So thank you for that.
I heard your mom is watching right now.
She is.
So in this moment where you're able to see where you were some months ago, and you know, even a year ago when you first got here, and now your mom is here in Seattle with you, how does that feel, with being that she was literally there with you this whole time? Like, she's been probably your biggest form of support.
Absolutely. It feels great, and I'm just so happy. Honestly, it makes me more thankful every day, even just seeing that clip that I wake up and she's there, because sometimes you can get kind of caught up in routine and forget how much people do for you. Yeah, I don't want to cry again, so that's all I want to say about that. Right.
So, okay, let me ask you this to change the topic, because we want to keep the shirt nice and clean today. Brown girls do ballet.
Mhm.
Tell me about what you do with them. I heard you're an ambassador.
Yes. So I've been an ambassador for Brown Girls Do Ballet, I think, for years. I don't even know how many years. And they've done a lot for me. They supported me as well, like so much through my journey. I mean, they do a lot for a lot of Black and brown dancers. So they have a point shoe, a toe shoe fund, and they have different donors, and different people donate so they can give money to people that purchase point shoes, and even just having mentors and a support system, because some people don't have that. Again, like, I'm very lucky to have people who support my dreams, but there's some people who don't see ballet or dance in general as a way to make money or a way to live, and some people don't take it seriously. So having just Zoom calls or Zoom meetings, or being able to meet with different ambassadors that live close to you or far, wherever the case may be. So really, they're just a huge support system for dancers, and they supported me a lot throughout my journey as well.
I love that. And, you know, I would assume that being a ballerina is not cheap.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I love that this is an organization that is helping other little Black girls that really do want to be a ballerina. And it's like, you know, with me, I remember in high school, I wanted to do certain sports, but we couldn't always afford the cleats. We couldn't always afford like certain different equipments that I would need. So eventually I would end up dropping out. So, have you worked with any of the younger girls in ballet recently, or like what are you doing with the youth that I know for a fact looked up to you? Because, you know, just like I was telling Jean about, you guys are in a position where you're able to be a ballerina in the way that you probably wanted to see it when you were growing up.
Absolutely. Especially through Brown Girls Do Ballet, I've been able to mentor some younger dancers. I definitely want to do more with that on my own as well. I'm working on trying to create some type of scholarship or something so I can give back, because that's important, and that's why I do what I do, obviously because I love it, but I definitely want to be able to reach out and give back as well. Just how so many people with Brown Girls Do Ballet, so many mentors I met. Dance Theater of Harlem was here recently at PMB, and
I seen it. It was so good.
it was so amazing, right? I mean, it felt it, the energy in the room was amazing, and I seeing so many of my mentors and people that I met those years ago who would just give me tips. I met Daphne, one of the dancers. She taught me how to sew point shoes. So like just even being able to see her again, it's just amazing. So I want to definitely do that. So I'm working on something.
Nice. So okay, Nutcracker season is here. What are we doing this season in the Nutcracker?
So I'm doing Snow and Flowers. A new role for me. I'm doing Doll. So I'm doing Columbine, and I do Grandma in the party scene. Wow. Yeah, so that's really fun. And is that all? Oh, and Marzipan. It's hard to keep track. I mean, when I was a PD, I did more. I think I did 1 or 2 more roles. So it's definitely been an adjustment coming from like being a student now, because I'm doing kind of less but still more in the same way.
Is it like a bigger role? Is that what it is? Or
I don't know. I think it's like I guess so. Yeah, I mean, Marzipan, there's only 5 dancers on stage, so that's more featured. Flowers is really hard. Snow is really hard. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is just, it's difficult. But
so what are some of the things that you do to make sure that you're not mixing up your roles? Because I mean, one day you're one person, maybe later on that day, if you do it again, you're doing another role.
Yeah, I was even gonna say, like, to complicate that even more, with snow, there's different numbered snowflakes, right? So I have 3 different parts in snow. I've learned 3 different snow spots. So I've learned snow number 1, snow number 2, and snow number 3. I'm performing 3, but when I was a PD, I did 1 and 2. So that's even more complicated, switching them up within the same role. But it's fun. I think it's fun.
Probably keeps it exciting.
It
to where you
does.
never feel bored. Like you have so many things
Exactly.
going on that you just like, you know what, I'm just moving around. It's a great life.
I agree. Actually, yeah, it makes things a little interesting. You sign in and you're like, which spot am I gonna do today? So it's fun actually. Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, what advice do you have for women that want to be more feminine? I feel like being a ballerina is like a very feminine thing. Like it's long lines. It's not always like hard movements. Like I don't know. It's very, at least a lot, not all of it, but a lot of it that I see can be very light and it can be very feminine. Do you have any advice on that?
I don't know if I would say being more. I think just be yourself.
Yeah.
I think wherever you go, and I found this with like my career, PMB, I found dancers that I looked up to, not that just looked like me, but I felt danced like me in a way. And I don't know, I would say it's like feminine, but I feel like it's just, we all have some type of like powerfulness and attack to our dancing. And I mean, we all call it different things. We'll describe it differently, but ultimately for me, I wrap it up into artistry. So I think everybody has their own unique artistry, and I think finding a place that loves your artistry that's the place you need to be, and PMB did that for me. So
I love that. So okay, what is one of your cheat foods?
Man, I mean, I wouldn't call it a cheat food because I don't really cheat. I eat it all the time. I love M&Ms.
It's a part of the diet.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I love M&Ms. I just shout out to M&Ms. Okay, I love them. But I guess a cheat food, I love going to like fancy restaurants and ordering like steak. I love steak.
So then you would hate to hear about the meat glue that I was telling one of my friends about recently. I was interviewing Shayna Shepherd yesterday, and I was telling her about how there's this thing called meat glue, where it's like basically, you know how like hot dogs are kind of like a mash of just random things, where they basically like take different pieces of meat and they like use this powder and they mix it up and then it creates a new, and you can't really tell the difference. Apparently.
Wow.
It tastes really similar. And she was like, what? How do I know if I'm eating it? I'm like, I don't really think that you do. I just like they keep messing with our food, man.
Do we ever know? That's what I was about to say. What do we really know?
But I say all of that to say, anytime I think about steak, I think of that video now that I seen a couple months ago, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm still going to eat it. But in the back of my head, I'm just like, I hope that this was not tossed together with powder.
Exactly. Oh gosh.
So what does it mean to you to be a Black ballerina in this day and age at that?
Yeah. I mean, it means a lot to me, but I think the biggest thing, kind of what I hinted at before, is just giving back.
Yeah.
And making sure that while I am succeeding and, meeting my goals, that I also help other people get there too. So whether that's just being a face that they see on the stage, and whether that's tackling roles like, Amanda Morgan, being able to do so many different roles this year, and just being such an inspiration to people, like seeing that is what they really need, and it's what I need. So I think just being more of that for other people, I mean, it means a lot to me, but I think that's the biggest thing for me, really being able to show people that you can do this and that you can be in this position too with hard work.
If someone say, you know what, I want to start doing ballet tomorrow,
Mhm.
where exactly would you tell them to start? I mean, obviously going to classes, but it's like once you leave class and you go home and you're just by yourself, like what practice advice do you have for them?
Man, I say for me, what really helped when I was starting was research and studying, kind of finding what would work for me, what styles would work for me, dancers that I love, dancers that I can look at and see, okay, I can take this from this person and bring it into myself. And so I think researching, maybe just what you really love about ballet and how you can bring it into your own artistry and into your own person.
I love it. Okay, so we're gonna do 6 randoms with Besa.
Okay.
Who would you say that Destiny is outside of ballet?
Ooh, outside of ballet, I would say Destiny is she's an extrovert. Okay.
Really?
Shockingly. I'm very introverted in the studio. I get very just tunnel vision. And it's a good and bad thing. But yeah, I think I'm pretty social outside of what I do. I like to stay pretty focused in the studio. I really pay attention to the teacher. I don't really like to talk too much because I don't want to miss anything, any ounce of juice or important information. I just don't want to miss it, so I get really zoned in. But I think I'm social and I'm fun.
I love it.
I like to do things, so yeah.
What would be your one misconception of being a ballerina?
Man, I agree with Gina. It's that it's like, it's just like, oh, we get to dress up. We come to work and we dress up and we get on the stage, but there's so much behind that. And it's not just hard physically, it's hard mentally. So you really have to be a strong person, and also like the discipline aspect of it too. You have to be so disciplined, but that's what I think I love about ballet dancers in general, or any dancers. Like we're so disciplined because of what we do, and we bring that to the outside world too. Like everything that we do, we go for it, we work hard for it. And so I think it's just a great way to kind of grow up and kind of live.
I love it. Now, same question that I asked Gina Bell. If the zombies come to town, being that this virus is out here, are you going underground or are you going up to Mars with Elon Musk?
Oh gosh, I think I'm gonna go underground. I don't want to go to Mars. I'll take my chances. We'll see how it works. I think my mom would go underground too, so she'll help me out down there, I think. Hopefully.
Something you can do outside of the season that you can't do during the season.
Oh, travel. Yeah, that's what I would want to do. That's one of my like long-term, short-term, long-term, any type of goal. I want to travel more, go to different places. Yeah.
What would you say to your 7-year-old self?
I would tell my 7-year-old self. I would tell my 7-year-old self, just keep doing what you're doing. You got it, and keep reminding yourself like why you do what you do, and that you love it, and then it makes you happy. Outside influences, anything external, forget about it.
It doesn't even matter
because you'll get where you're going if you keep just focusing.
And then last question, what is one ballet that you haven't done that you want to do?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. Just one.
You can give me 3.
Okay, I love Balanchine's like black and white ballet, so like Agon. Man, there's so many. Now I'm blanking. I wanted PMB just did Romeo and Juliet. But that version, I love it so much, and that's a dream role for me. I'd love to be Juliet, and it's so powerful, and I saw how much it moved the audience and how much it moved me. So any work that can move people, which is a lot of ballet, but anything that I really feel like can make a difference and kind of change how someone views ballet, I want to be a part of it. So